My story was a long, hard road. My SP and I split up in January, not going to speak too much on the old story, but it was a very ugly breakup. I thought for sure they were gone for good. I started learning and studying Neville, listened to every single lecture, lurked this entire thread, watched every single coaching video on YouTube to the point I literally was ripping my hair out. I even went as far as paying $300 for a course. At the 3-month mark my worst fear happened. My SP had a GF. I'd do my SATs crying every night. It was awful. Every second of every day for about 5 months I thought of him non-stop. Then out of the blue I just decided enough was enough. I gave up on Neville, gave up on the thought of him coming back. Every so often he'd pop up in my mind, but I was like, nah, forget about that. I started going on dates, going out to bars, and overall started having a ton of fun. And what's funny is, some of these people I met reminded me a lot of him. They had a ton of similarities. But overall I kind of thought in the back of my mind that since there was a 3P he wasn't coming back. Then one day I was out and about minding my own business and I got a Facebook message. With the exact same message I had envisioned in my SATs months prior. Word for word. After I decided to give up and move on, it took about a month to bloom into my 3D. Also to add, about a week ago he dropped 3P because in his words, he couldn't stop thinking about me and 3P was lacking the qualities and traits that he missed so much about me. So there's my story. It took what felt like forever, but it did in fact happen. Exactly how I envisioned it originally, but it didn't come to harvest until I truly just said screw it. Don't lose hope, but don't stop being you and living your life. I'm sure it could have came sooner, but my turmoil of emotions and overall woe is me and looking for the evidence around me probably slowed it down. By the time he returned I honestly didn't care if he did or didn't return. I don't really know where to start because I'm still shaking with excitement. The law is absolutely real. My SP has returned even though it seemed impossible. In the beginning of this year, I met this beautiful, funny, and smart guy. We instantly clicked. We shared the same humor and interest in art, music, and sports. We could laugh together, cry together, have deep late-night conversations, and would never get tired of each other. We dated for a few months and everything seemed perfect, right? No. At one point I began to feel insecure because everything seemed too good to be true. And I actually manifested the breakup. I manifested it word for word. He said he wasn't ready for all this and he wanted to go no contact. I cried and he seemed quite cold about it. Saying I was crushed would be an understatement. For 3 days I was just laying in bed. But that was when I found about Neville Goddard. I read his books, tried a few things and quickly found out what worked best for me. I tried doing SATs but that didn't really work. So I just affirmed every time it came to my mind and did a lot of meditation. I visualized a lot. It's a good thing to mention that after that breakup I realized I was basically alone. I had no friends or so. So I also affirmed I wasn't alone. I told myself I had a lot of friends. That I am loved and people like my company. I worked a lot on my self-concept and began feeling better and better every day. That was when I started to notice how more and more people reached out to me with whom I hadn't had contact in ages. Many of them wanted to hang out with me and I also made new really good friends at my new job. My life made a whole 180. I was in a very good headspace and kept affirming that my SP misses me. I kept on believing that he had to miss me. Why wouldn't he? I am who he truly wants. I visualized getting a message of him telling me how much he misses me and that he regrets what he did every time I thought about it. And what I noticed was that I had many dreams about him. Every time I dreamt about him being in my apartment. Of course, I sometimes had doubts. This is completely normal, but it is important to realize that this is not the truth. I think of them as a part of me that wants to protect me from getting hurt. But that's not necessary. Because as long as I know what's true, the 3D has to adapt sooner or later. I let the doubts come and wipe them away by thinking, okay, thank you. But no. One day it got especially hard because I had noticed SP even stopped following me on Instagram. At that moment I doubted again. But I tried to wipe the doubts away. And I thought to myself, he only does that because he misses me so much that it hurts him seeing me being happy with other people. And went on affirming. It was around that time when it clicked and I let go. It's not about letting your desires go. It's about finding happiness even without your desires being around, if that makes sense. In my case, I now was happy without SP, but of course I still wanted him back. I was just not in a state of lack anymore because I knew I am at peace even without him. About 2 weeks passed after this. And now we are here. This night I had a dream about him again. But this time it wasn't him being with me in person. It was him texting me all the things I was affirming. It felt so real that when I woke up I was confused and almost disappointed that it wasn't real. But I just shrugged it off and went on about my day. I came home from work, checked my phone and couldn't believe what I saw. A voice message from my SP telling me how much he misses me, that he regrets everything he said. He told me he was listening to our songs, watched the sunsets and couldn't stop thinking about me, and that he's really heartbroken thinking about what he did. He even told me that he unfollowed me on Instagram because it broke his heart seeing me all the time because he misses me. We just talked on the phone and he wants to see me as soon as possible. So keep in mind that the 3D sometimes becomes a bit tougher before it gets better. What also helped me a lot during all of this was actually the breakup itself, because it assured me that manifesting is real. I thought if I can manifest a breakup, I can also manifest him back. I am so happy. But I will keep affirming. I hope this helps some of you and that all of your desires are manifesting.